What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Right now, the Marvel Snap ladder is plagued of Death Wave. We've got Morbius, Murdock decks, Galactus, you name it. But today's control deck is cracked at countering all of those. Best part is all of those decks leave your opponent with like a bunch of confidence, and we're just going to steal that all the way along with their cubes. Today's deck is King Lane Lockdown. You guys are going to learn how to shut down locations early to give you a huge advantage. Control exactly where your opponent is going to play their cards. You're going to destroy Supercharge Morbius, Sunspots, Draculas, and Bucky Barnes through Death Waves, or use some tech cards on turn 5 to counter pretty much anything they can do. Now, this is the cards in the deck, but we've got a lot of synergized components, so let's go ahead and break them down. Now, first up, we got the best one-cost card in Marvel Snap. Sunspot is going to be great for early priority that we can use to execute some of our combos. You can put him in a storm lane. That's great because if it floods off, you can build it up later or throw Professor X on top of him for the same result. He's absolutely perfect for our turn 6 surprise that we'll talk about in a second. And altogether is, for the most part, not replaceable unless you don't have She-Hulk. Then you can go ahead and plug something like Nightcrawler or Iceman to get a similar result. Next is one of the essential parts of the deck in Daredevil, and he's going to be absolutely crucial for most of your wins. Now, first of all, you're going to snap on turn 5 a lot with him because we can see exactly what the opponent is going to do. And we have so many cards to counter and control whatever they might do on turn 5. And it gives us a lot of information going into our last turns. With Daredevil, we can Cosmo a Murdock on turn 5. We can mess up Death Wave. There's so much we can do with Professor X that if we already have a stormed off location, you can get an additional location and just win flat out. He's huge in the deck, and if you draw him early, you can pretty much count on getting the win unless something just crazy happens. Daredevil can be replaced, but I would say that he's responsible for a lot of the winning in the deck. So Storm is obviously best in slot for control for many different reasons. We're trying to lock down a lane early to really achieve an easy win with the deck. However, she serves a bunch of purposes, as you guys already know. If you have Invisible Woman on the board, you can play Storm to mess up a Hela combo. She's going to just, in general, get rid of locations that favor your opponents. And then, just last off, just shutting down a location, it's going to give you a winning edge because you're prepped around it. We have cards that can boost up Storm, and preferably, I like to play her on a location with a lot of cards that your opponent has already played there, because we're going to move them over with Magneto, Polaris, some of the cards we'll talk about in a second, or we can boost it up with Silver Surfer, or ultimately, you can follow it up with our next card, the Swiss Army Disruption card in the deck, Juggernaut, who's probably one of the most slept-on cards in Marvel Snap. We use them in so many different ways to guarantee that Storm lane. You can bump a card into our Kingpin lane. You can use them on a turn 5 with Daredevil to just displace whatever they're trying to do. And then best of all, he's another 3-cost card that's going to combo with our Surfer. And again, we'll talk about that here in a second. Now, if you don't have Juggernaut, you can replace him, but he's tough to replace because of how much he does in this one deck. Next up is Polaris, and again, 3-5 value is great. I've always liked the card, and she does a lot to help you out. But right now, there are so many cards that get just super boosted in today's meta, right? Sunspots, Bucky Barnes, and Death Waves. Obviously, Morbius in this kind of discard Murdock meta. And Polaris here is going to move those cards around, and we're going to move them into a Kingpin lane or wherever we want them to try to guarantee a win in whatever location that might have been. Splitting up Carnage and Bucky Barnes just completely messes them up. Or you can move a card into a lane before someone Galactuses. And then best of all, obviously, you can destroy things with Kingpin, and that is what is so huge. I would say Polaris and Kingpin are going to be the best combo to get surprise cubes in the deck. You can play Kingpin first, followed by Polaris, and then you drag a card to that location, usually netting you the win. Or you can go ahead and set it up early and do Magneto, which we'll talk about as well. But Polaris is my MVP here because of how many cards she's shutting down, just being able to mess up and disrupt to our perfection. And all of that is done through Kingpin. Now, usually I've got to find a way to make Kingpin work, but he is easily right at home with this deck. Now, how you play Kingpin is probably one of the most important things to understand with the strategy of this deck, at least in my experience. And if you play him wrong, you're going to learn quickly how to exactly place him on certain locations. Now, first of all, you always want to place him on locations that your opponent doesn't really have a lot of cards, right? Because they're going to simply just clog that location early, and then you can't drag anything to destroy them. And that's the big chunk of our deck. And so I'm going to try to place him on something on turn 3 if I can, and it makes sense. And then we can Juggernaut that lane even to ensure that it's free, so long as we have like Aero or Magneto. Or again, play him on turn 6 with Polaris in combination. The guy has so many ways to win, and because we're locking down lanes, he gives us even a better chance at that because we can force the opponent's hand. Now, briefly, we've got Cosmo. He's going to mainly be here for the heavy counters. We can go ahead and spot a Galactus with our Daredevil and mess that up with an Electro deck. You can go on Aero and mess up that in Death Wave. Yes, you can place him on top of an Invisible Woman against those Hella decks, but you throw Cosmo on Murdock when you can see where he's placing it with our Daredevil, and you just snap and get the easy win. And then lastly, for our 3-cost cards, we've got Silver Surfer, who wasn't in this deck, but because of all these other 3-cost cards naturally fitting in, we had to place him for the pure value. I'm going to be honest, he's probably the most important thing to get the higher cube wins. You can run the deck if you don't have them, but I wouldn't expect as many high cube wins because it looks like we're playing a control deck, and Silver Surfer obviously synergizes with so much in the deck, but not just the 3-cost cards. He's going to synergize with like what we're trying to do. So if we flood a location with Storm, we can later boost that up with Silver Surfer. If you throw down Kingpin early, if you want to just play a big hand on turn 6, there's so many ways to utilize Silver Surfer, and your opponent is really never going to expect it, right? And I think that's what's so great is, you know, if our Kingpin strategy doesn't work out because we played him early, we can simply throw on one more 3-cost card, and then we can throw on Silver Surfer to get the win either way. Let's move on to Professor X, and if you've already stormed a lane, you can just place him on another lane and pretty much get an easy W. You want to play him on lanes that you don't plan on disrupting with Aero or whatever into your Kingpin lanes, but Professor X is just a staple on top of Sunspot, something that you can build up later. Again, if you lock down those lanes, it just shuts down their options. A lot of decks nowadays need that board space to operate. Like Mr. Negative, you'll see some matches today where they can't do anything because I've closed down their options. Obviously, Daredevil with him make a great combo, and as long as you play him in the right lanes and locations, he's great. Or you don't have to play him. It's all about priority and just seeing what he'll do to affect wherever you might have to place him. Moving on to the best card in Marvel Snap. She's always been, in my opinion, the best card. Really since beta, I've been saying that. You guys know it by now. But Aero gets an additional use in the deck because of Kingpin. Now, we're obviously going to move cards with her to the Kingpin lane, but oftentimes, you want to just float on turn 5 because we're not going to play her, and we're going to play her on turn 6 with our next card, Miss She-Hulk here, and just take a second to absorb this variant. Just amazing split. But we're going to skip turn 5, and that's going to allow us to play the pretty much insane combo that is Aero and She-Hulk. At the same time, if your opponent did play Death Wave, you can see that with Daredevil, or if you don't expect it, you still have a She-Hulk Aero play yourself, right? And that's pretty crazy if you ask me, because you can just counter what they're going to do. This is huge to win a lot of the locations. If you shut down one already with Storm, you can just Aero into a lane they're already winning and play She-Hulk in the other lane. This is just a big way to get a huge advantage. And then also She-Hulk just works obviously with Sunspot. You're going to give him that extra energy. You can play her in addition with some of our other cards on turn 6. Really, obviously, guys, we're combining great cards here, and She-Hulk is just fitting in this naturally. And lastly, we got Magneto, and it's 12 freaking power just for starts, right? That's going to win you a lot of lanes. But second, guys, there's nothing more sweet than dragging a Dracula into a Kingpin lane on turn 6 and watching that guy die who can never be countered. Hellcow, a lot of the disruption options or discard options, Magneto can just destroy. Wong, Lockjaw, you name it, and then he's going to have a lot of power to boot. And then this is, again, usually great. You either play him or Polaris to win that Storm lane that you opened up earlier. Overall, this deck is very reactionary, right? You want to know what your opponent is going to play, and that's going to be vital to your success in predicting moves. Now, down below are the replacement cards that I think, work pretty solid in the deck. It's hard to split up this build just like Sarah Control. Just a lot of cards working in harmony. Now, again, if you don't have Surfer, you can use some other options out there, and I would say most of them are key essentials. Outside of probably Cosmo, you could switch out. If you don't have Daredevil, you would get rid of him and Professor X. But again, that's going to mess up a lot of the build. Now, let's go ahead and show you exactly how to control, how to use these cards and pilot some decks. Guys, we're just going to completely abuse our opponents with control. Jimmy Threes, I like the name. All right, so we're going to go Sunspot first. We have She-Hulk, Juggernaut, Kingpin. killer opening hand. I mean, we already have the float option. We have Juggernaut into Kingpin. So we have like our control options out the bat. Big House is somewhat of a control location. So again, that's going to favor us as we float over to Sunspot. Love She-Hulk in Big House. Very tough for people to win against that. And we're going to go with Snap. Kingpin, right side. It's a bit early to snap. However, I feel pretty good about it. I with the closed down location, and we already have some advantage on Sunspot. And it's Angela middle. I think we're fine to snap. All right, cool. So we're going to control the control deck. We got Sarah control yet again. This is a worthless location now that it's turn 4. And we might storm here. Or we can Juggernaut instead and keep things off our Kingpin lane. And I kind of like that option. Because if not saying that if he was smart, but he should most likely go ahead and play cards here so that he can get it filled up so I can't move anything on it. But with us pushing it over there, that does change things. Gonna Scarlet Witch, okay. And with that, we have no idea what's in the middle. That's a bit odd. Cool. So we can go ahead and skip this turn, float over to... Yeah, man, this combo is so good. We're going to skip, beat the Sunspot, She-Hulk, Aero. He did do the smart play of playing a lot on Kingpin now. Okay. Yeah, this is just so busted, man. So, like, we can almost be certain it's probably Mysterio, Killmonger, somewhere in the lines of that if I had to take a stab. He's going to snap, too, which is bold. I don't think he's going to Cosmo. Well, I bet you guys, he's going to Killmonger my Sunspot. So, we're going to She-Hulk. With him snapping, it kind of tells me that. And we don't have priority, so we can't do anything there. I think I'm going to Silver Surfer. I think I'm going to Silver Surfer him, which would put us up. I think enough. I think enough. This is a bit risky. I will say that because he snapped, I'm changing up my game plan a little bit, and we're going to fill out that lizard. He's going to go left side. This has got to be Killmonger, yeah? Okay. GG's. Read that one like a book, guys. Read it like a book. It was close because we almost played our She-Hulk on the left side. But luckily, the amount of times I've played a Sarah control deck is far too many. So I had a feeling of what he was going to do there. Again, those are the little things that can make or break, right? And trying to read. If your opponent's snapping back on something that looks like they're a surefire loss, odds are they have like Killmonger or whatever to try to, you know, they have something like a Shang-Chi. There's not a lot of bluffing, especially with a control Sarah deck. Okay, Sunspot, Kingpin, Juggernaut, Daredevil. I like the Sunspot on Hala. I feel like we can beat him out. All right, he's going to Deadpool, so he wants to die. We have Stark Tower and Daredevil. So let's Daredevil mid, and then we're going to Jug. Oh, this is going to be great. This guy has no idea what's coming. Man, Juggernaut is so underrated in my opinion. So we could storm this, but because we have priority and Juggernaut, we're just going to push whatever the hell he's going to throw on top of this. Most likely this is going to be a Deathlock or a Carnage. Maybe it's a Killmonger and he gets the super win, but because of Bucky's there, I doubt it. Get that out of here. Potentially a free 2 cubes if he quits out now. Yeah, there's the Deathlock. Gotta love priority, guys, and gotta love control. So he's still going to be able to get these 2 guys blown to hell and get the free value, right? Nope, wrong. We're going to storm it now. You would think he's not going to try to win this because he would want those killed. He's going to now have Venom instead. Okay. And we have Daredevil out too. This is a savage destroy counter. Like, what is he going to Death Wave here probably? Because this tells us the Death Wave option too. Killmonger, that's a bit of a bummer. Nova, Deadpool. He doesn't want to kill these now, does he? I don't know. I wouldn't think he does. He is going to boost this up to 11 by just flat out playing Professor X, guys, with Stark Tower. We're going to win because we can just Sunspot float as well. he doesn't want to be destroying these now. It's kind of funny the order he's doing this in. Forgot he had Killmonger. Can't Sunspot float, but we could still win this, I think, pretty dang easily with the Magneto, right? Unless he filled up this lane.
All systems go.
I love how I was talking about a Sunspot float and he had Killmonger. Well, look at that. You came in just the right time. Unfortunately, this would only go up to 9. Yo, this is crazy. Okay, there's a chance we lose if he fills it out, which you could with Deadpool and Death, right? But this is what I'm thinking, all right? You'd think Magneto, but we would lose because of the soldier's the bigger threat. So we Polaris this turn. And then we can either Surfer or we Kingpin Polaris and kill the Winter Soldier. Okay, let's do it. This is either going to be the greatest thing of all time or we're going to lose 8 cubes. Let's do it. Oh, we didn't fill it up. Let's go. Come to Papa. Come here, Winter Soldier. It's time to die again. That's freaking awesome. It didn't really matter if we did the Surfer or Kingpin. I just kind of wanted to do the Kingpin for the killing, you know? So I forgot to record. You've missed nothing. It's turn 2. And guys, anytime you get Fisk Tower with the man himself and he's home, it's going to be a good day. We have so many options to just wreck icemanOc here. Okay, so he's going to be going Sunspot. We're going to storm middle. Shut down really the only location that we're not going to place something like Kingpin on. Mr. Fisk himself. That Morbius is in for a bad time. Kingpin right side. And then we can just Polaris to either location and or Fisk Tower. I probably should snap now before he sees the Kingpin. If he sees the Kingpin, he might leave. But this is going to shake his confidence. Hellcow, Dracula. Okay. It'd be tough to win the middle lane, so we're not going to try to do that. Actually, no, we could take both of these with... I'm going to Polaris so that we can either get one of these Jamokes over here. That's going to help him fill up some lanes. You're dead. Kind of wanted the Morbius. All right, so because we have priority, like, we can do whatever we want to, right? We can arrow this side. And that would put us up to 12. He might just try to fill these locations out, like, either way, right? My guess is he swarms here and plays a bigger card here. So I think this is where we do the arrow. And we have priority. I think this is the arrow lane, and I don't think we do anything else. Oh, my God. Pre-4 cubes. We don't even know what he's going to play. We have no idea what that was. We have no clue. Let's go. Slam Duncan. Okay, Slam Duncan. Look at this mojo mother coming right out here with a freaking snap. You're killing me, bud. Slam, you're killing me. What do you have? A Mr. Sinister? That's what's got you all hot and bothered? Man, look at Mojo. What a card. Who would win a beauty contest? Mojo or Murdock? Morag mid. Okay. Somewhat of a control lane for us. We could do this now and completely mess them up. I think we're going to take advantage of this before we storm it. But we will be storming it. Rest assured. So let's go with Polaris this side. A Patriot deck? That's what he's so crazy about. And Bifrost. Okay. I think we keep this. Actually, I don't think we want to get rid of that. We love the 2s for our 3 costs, right? Like, we're being able to play those pretty dang easily. We do have this to be mindful of. We can throw Cosmo down on the right now. Because I feel like if he's going to play, like, Mystique... Oh, nice. He played it. I thought he might have played that on the right side. Maybe? probably should have done that there, but it's fine. We will live, guys. We will live. All right, so I think this is a bit weird on how we're going about it, but I think we're going to go ahead and storm now and silver now, believe it or not. And then that way we can jug anything on this left lane, and he's like out of space, you know? And he can't play Ultron because the only lane he could play it in is Cosmo. That's a big boy. And then he's done. So the only thing he can literally do is play left side right now or right side, and we're going to move it. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what he's going to play here, and then we're just going to either turn skip, which wouldn't do too much. Aero doesn't have a lot of use here, or we Juggernaut. Yeah, dude, he's screwed. He's going to have no space. SLAMMOUNCAN's going to learn a valuable lesson today to not just roll into a game, insta-snap, and just call it a day. Because dude, if we fill up Bifrost, he literally can't do anything next turn. Feels bad, man. Dude, there's so much control in this deck. So much control. Okay, cool. Well, you did it. You won right lane. Where are you going to play now, though? Where are you going to play now? When is it going to set in? Does he go the whole way? Does he just, like, accept that he lost and goes the distance? Or is he scratching the head? Oh, we got the thumbs up. All right, SLAMMOUNCAN, no more snapping for you. And again, on this video, you're going to see a common theme. If there's already a shutdown lane, it's good to go, right? Because you can go ahead and shut down one of the other ones and most likely win. All right, we've got Nelson and Murdock. Oh, 10 out of 10 names. First Daredevil, which, by the way, awesome, right? First Daredevil. The Daredevil on Netflix was such a good show. Absolutely loved it. All right, Luke's Bar, great for Storm later on. We also have Daredevil to play ourselves. We're going to go Sunspot here. Left side, he's going Morbius. That's going to be fantastic. Right is Limbo, which we could also Storm early, Murdock. All right, so Daredevil, Polaris, Cosmo. We're going to do this on his we're going to do that on his Murdock lane. So we're going to Cosmo his Murdock lane, guys. Like, that's going to happen. So not really worried about that. He's going to Lockjaw left side. Interesting. Could be advantageous to Cosmo now. Or we float. I think we're going to float and not play Cosmo now. He's going to go Dracula right side. And now we wait and see. So we're either going to do Professor X in the middle. Man, this is so good for not only controlling, like, the opponent, but, like, just getting location advantage is huge. I think we're going to Professor X in the middle, or, wow, what is he doing? Okay, we do have priority as well, keep in mind. Lady Sif and Blade. I say we Cosmo She-Hulk now, because then, like, give him the Raft, but, like, these two guys aren't going to discard anything. They're just going to cycle out. And then if something else comes out, it is also not going to... Yep, it's also not going to do anything. Congratulations. And we, I guess, should have snapped there, but we didn't. And we're just going to snap, right? I think we just snap on this. It's turn 7, technically, so he thinks he probably has another turn. We can Pro X mid. Okay, so he might play Murdock in the middle and have it bounce back, because why not? Like, Luke's Bar is not a bad option for him. So that makes this a little bit risky. It makes that a little bit on the risky side, guys. Do we want to chance it, or do we just play Magneto and be safe? We could just do this. But then that pulls Lockjaw. Oh my god. Got a little nervous. Got a little bit on the nervous side. All right, he's playing double Chavez. Holy crap. And he's out of here. Because let's see, he can build this up to, his hand is 4. He can get 8 power on this side, and 8 power, folks, cannot beat our Magneto at 25 power. Nothing else he can do to build that up. With a name like Nelson and Murdock, he's smarter than this. Yeah, he is. All right, fist bumps, man. Nice job. Luke's Bar coming in clutch again, and we did a little bit of gamble with the Professor X. Definitely, we had some ways out of it, but it was going to look bad. But there we go. We got the dubs. All right, we got an M'Baku Avatar. I'm always loving going against these guys. TicoT, I got immense respect for you already, my guy. Hellfire Club, nice. We're going to pass on turn 2. Have Juggernaut and Kingpin for control. Professor X in hand. We can get Daredevil. Awesome stuff. And we're going up against a Zabu deck. All right, we got the Raft as well. And Grand Central. So odds are he's going to start filling up the Raft. And Kingpin going middle would probably be our best bet. We could go and kind of try to clog the Raft up. Maybe play Juggernaut over here if we wanted to. I think I'm going to kind of use Kingpin as a pressure. Because when you place Kingpin down, it kind of tells them that you better start filling this lane or you're going to be in a world of hurt, right? Storm on the Raft makes the most sense. Or we could just go Storm left side and let him try to fill up the Raft. And then maybe like Juggernaut next turn. Don't let him get the free play left side. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to Storm Grand Central. We don't want him getting a free play. We're already up by a little bit on that side. He's playing Mr. Negative into the Raft, which kind of works for us anyway. Mr. Negative does not do good without space, which we do have. But guys, we've got our combo. This is the combo that's the main part of this deck. And if you don't have Daredevil, you're going to skip this turn. And you're going to play Aero and She-Hulk together. You're going to play Aero on the Kingpin lane. You're going to play She-Hulk on the right lane. And we're going to snap. I think this guy might leave. Maybe he won't. He could play something huge in flooding right now. And that would be, ginormous for him. Because then we'd have to kind of work that into our equation of what to do. But do know that we are also floating everything over to Sunspot. That's big, man. That's a big magic. Big magic there. Nicely done. All right. That's okay, though. I'm still not too worried about it. Because we also benefit from the turn 7 pretty nicely. Magneto doesn't do a hell of a lot here. Do we just lock down a lane now? We could do that. We have a lot of choices. Like, we could do this, right? And just lock down right side. All we have to do is win left side. And I think we're looking pretty good there. If we don't do that, we could play Juggernaut and She-Hulk this turn and then float the rest. But then we kind of force his hand. I think we just close down his lane choices, right? We can lock down with She-Hulk now, but I think I'm going to lock down left side now. Wow, we are crisis averted there, huh? And we're going to beat him because he already locked down the right lane. You got it. Like, decks like Mr. Negative need their location space. So that's why Control's so good against them, right? So we don't have Shang-Chi and stuff, but we have so many things that they have to try to think about. And with us playing some of these other Control cards, like, he might think that we have tech cards as well. So, yeah, we just kind of worked that Mr. Negative deck pretty damn easily. Okay, Sugou. The Red Skull miniaturized lab. We are getting so many shutdown locations ahead of time. This is perfect for us. I mean, literally could not script this better. You could not script it better with all these shutdown locations. Miniaturized lab to open us up, and Nightcrawler is going in there. Okay, everybody loves that hot trash location. We're going to throw Daredevil left side. Finally got our Daredevil play. And we'll have Professor X return 5 as well. We have armor going right side. This is kind of everything that we want to happen. We didn't want him to play left again. All right, Wakanda Embassy's cracked for Polaris. All right, so we can do a couple things. We can go Kingpin middle, right? Because I don't think he's going to play middle, and then that kind of just puts a lot of pressure on him. We can just go Polaris right side, which I think I like better. We're going to drag this Nightcrawler, unless we're not, because he's playing Cosmo. We kind of have everything we already need, guys. So I think we're going to Kingpin here. We don't have Magneto, but we have Aero, and we get to see what he's doing. And we can play She-Hulk and Aero together for 19 power, or lock down a lane and probably win it. So I think we're going to snap now. We're going to have the indications we need. He has confidence, and that's what we want our opponents to have to snatch whatever they're trying to do. He's going to be playing Moon Girl. Okay. Surprised he played that middle. We did get a rock. But we should be good here. We're gonna probably Professor X one of the lanes, but let's see what he chooses to do. Okay, interesting. 2 Ant-Mans. Well, that perfectly escapes my Professor X. Would you look at that? We're just going to skip this turn, although I don't like it. This was kind of the perfect split play, and I don't even know if he knew that. All right, cool, guys. I think we're safe here. I think we're safe. We're going to go with... We have She-Hulk and Aero together. We're going to Aero mid. We can She-Hulk this side. I think we leave this lane alone. I don't know if I'm too worried about the Daredevil. So we could just try to outpower him in the middle, guys. By doing this, right? That's adding 19. That's 23 power. And then if he tries to go all mid, cool. If he tries to... He might move like miniaturized lab right. And this just comes down to a power off. If we storm... Yeah, I think we do this. Because if he fills this up... I think we can win this. This is risky, but I do think we have it. Dude, we were totally counting on this right here. Totally, completely countering or hoping that he would just leave miniaturized lab. Oh, wow. What? Insanity. Insanity. We played that perfectly. Even though it was a huge risk. But I felt like he was going to abandon this left side. And he did. And the Nightcrawler, he just sent right to hell. Like Kingpin just took that man down. Just completely killed him. That's Nightcrawler actually in the picture. We got an 8 cube. Wow. All right, we love killing anytime we get a location. And for that matter, when you get a location where one of them shut down early and you're playing a control deck, it's in your favor, right? Because you're just going to shut down another location later on. Now we've got Daredevil, Professor X. Honestly, things are looking really good. Plunder Castle, we can play our Magneto into. So we've got that as well. And honestly, with everything we got going on, we're going to go and snap now. I don't see why not. Sunspot left, Daredevil left. He's going to play through it. We have our Professor X play that we can do. Maybe on the right side. That screws up everything. Typical here. Typical, not surprised. But we can play our Pro X early, which is kind of awesome. So we can play that here and just win the lane, like right now. Or we can play Polaris and then kind of like wait for this Professor X on turn 5 for cheaper. I don't hate that. Don't hate Cosmo early too because we have priority. So we have a couple things we can do. Let's go with Cosmo just in case he tries to play something on the peak that is on reveal. Don't really know. And typically I like to save the Cosmo for these discard deck Murdocks on turn 5. Oh, he's going to sneak into Plunder Castle. All right, buddy. I like it. All right, so we know we're going to Professor X next turn, right? And we get to see what he's doing. So we do have that going for us. Magneto's going to pull him into Plunder Castle. And so with that being said, I think we just slap Mr. X on the right side here. Leaving turn 5 all going to Sunspot, right? He can't do anything turn 5 either. Oh, yeah, this is it. Okay, guys. Nobody can do anything on turn 5, but we have our Sunspot out on the board. Nice. All right, so he can't do anything. There's nothing he can do, right? I don't think so, at least. We're going to float and get up by 2 on the left side, but it won't matter because we're just going to Magneto in the middle, and that way we win no matter what. So we're going to pass up our turn 2. Gotta love the control, guys. And then we're going to slap him with the sexy variant Magneto that I'm on split number like 10-4 and cannot get this guy inkified or gold. Making sure we don't want to do anything else. We can't do anything else, and this is going to be a free 4 cubes. Even if it's Doom, yeah, it won't really matter. Oh, that's crazy. Wasn't expecting the Onslaught. But we got the dubs. And there you have it, guys. King Lane Lockdown. Easily one of my new favorite decks. I've been a fan of Sarah Control for so long now. But as you saw today, this deck can stomp Sarah Control when, going up against it as well. Just a very solid use of a lot of cards. And it combines surprise elements to win you a lot as well. Guys, I'm loving these deck guides. Hopefully you are as well. And if you are, leave a like so I know. If you haven't already and you watch my videos daily, it helps support the channel a ton by hitting the red subscribe button. We got some big videos coming out this week. We'll see you on the next one, and happy snapping.